Then, all of a sudden, there appears to me the journeyman tailor who was my antecedent, up on a table, cross-legged, ripping out a garment he must recut or resew, his lips tight back, a thread between his teeth, keeping his counsel always and giving none. Around the turn of the millennia, a little after Y2K, 2001, 2, 3, before Google was a thing, the internet was still a place where you couldn't quite trust what you found there. And at that time, myself, and as it turns out, a bunch of other people, found a research depository called the Militant Guild of Rural Tailors Research Group. And this website seemed to be a place where academics studying textiles and fashion were exchanging evidence or arguing about the veracity of evidence that there had been a secret society of tailors at the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. In 1811, Ned Ludd, a weaver, was afraid, like many of his fellow workers, that automated looms would steal his job. In reaction to that, he grabbed a sledgehammer, smashed the window of his employer's factory, found these automated looms, and broke them to bits. Around that movement, around this one action, a group formed that named themselves the Luddites, and they announced the beginning of the Luddite Revolution, which involved more weavers breaking into more factories to smash up more automated looms. Understandably, the owners of these mills, having invested in early automation, were pretty ticked off. And they worked with the constabulary to round up the culprits, probably some who were not culprits, send them down to London for what was a mass show trial, and they were all sentenced to death by hanging. A little while later, the sewing machine was invented in France, and there is a recorded case that the first time the inventor of the sewing machine provided gratis a couple of machines to a montage factory to try it out, thinking this factory owner is going to see how much faster he can assemble garments using my new machine, that he'll tell all of the other factories, and pretty soon sewing machines will take over. But that first test never happened, because after they installed the sewing machines, that night, that factory was burned down. No one knows by whom. But there was theories that maybe there was a secret society of tailors that decided to go underground, knowing full well the dark history and what had befallen their comrades in the weaving world, in the show trial of the Luddites. So this I found to be a very kind of tantalizing idea, that there was another track of history of menswear tailoring. My own great-grandfather was a rural Irish tailor, so I reasoned, or maybe fantasized, that possibly he had been a member of this Militant Guild of Rural Tailors. I used what I found in the research, which was very rich in material. There were descriptions of initiation rites, and there were descriptions of rituals, and there was accounts of documents and manifestos. It was clearly more than just a group of tailors who were sharing tailory practices. They were also sharing values and a way of looking at their relationship to the world and their relationship to each other, their relationship to the community, their relationship to innovation and automation, obviously. Years later, over the years that followed, I kept running into people who turned out they had also found this same research depository, and it had also had an effect on the work that they did. Young designers starting their own labels, people working within kind of startup brands, and they were coming from all over. They came from Iceland, from Tokyo, from New York, from London, from Africa, from Europe, from Holland, Norway. And this picture started to form in my head that while no one has proven true or false whether there had ever been a militant Guild of Rural Tailors at the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, it certainly seemed like there was forming a militant Guild of Rural Tailors in our time from these people who had been inspired by the research. That website and those days of the internet are long gone. Everything has faded into digital black. And my friends and I and my wife wanted to make sure that we captured the energy that we felt during those times. The business that we work in, or more the vocation is a better word, can be seen really as not being about clothing at all. It's really about personal identity, how it's expressed, how it evolves, what makes the expression of identity authentic in many cases, and sadly, sometimes inauthentic in other cases. And what I learned, which was humbling because this was all occurring in my late 40s and early 50s, but these other people I discovered through this shared interest taught me that every day when we prepare ourselves to face the world, we have an opportunity to stitch together three materials. The first being the material of where I come from individually, but also in terms of ancestry and collectively. Another material, the second one, is where I belong, a sense of home and family and where we're comfortable and our current routine. And then the last one is that very important fabric of where I hope to go, our ambitions, our visions for the future and our dreams. And ever since understanding this from these other creatives, I've looked at everything from car design to how men on the street will put their outfit together. And I've looked to see if I can decode, not fully of course, but if I can get a sense of where they come from, where they belong, and where they hope to go. And I've been incredibly impressed by the people I have seen, artists, designers, and even sometimes just ordinary people who understand this somehow instinctively. How many ways there are to renew your self-expression while still always holding on and taking power from these three materials. The strengths of being rooted in where I come from, the approachability of expressing where you belong, and the excitement and enthusiasm that comes from understanding where you hope to go. I think my dream, and I think other people involved in it, would be to inspire to inspire. It's one of the rituals of the Guild, and to keep these dialogues to be a living dialogue, not locked in the history of the Industrial Revolution, not locked in between the pages of this book, but to bring it out and make it interactive and collective and collaborative. So I suppose if I could dream what would happen next, I think some kind of exhibition meets workshop meets roundtable, some way for these topics to be put forth in a visual and tactile way like we've tried to do here, to have that trigger conversation and have dialogues be oiled by this material, so that we can keep these themes alive and keep moving forward and keep things dynamic, and have people feel like I do, which is tremendously optimistic